Let's start with the ones that were merely embarrassing and slowly work our way towards the ones that make you question how any of these people were ever in charge of anything. Let's begin. Number 4. The Aztec Empire, 1519. The Aztec Empire at its peak controlled most of central Mexico, millions of subjects, enormous cities. Tenochtitlan, the capital, was larger than any city in Europe at the time. The Aztecs had been militarily dominant in the region for over a century. Then 500 Spanish soldiers arrived. Now, before you say anything, yes, the Spanish had guns and horses, but the real reason the empire collapsed had almost nothing to do with military defeat. It was smallpox. A single sick Spanish soldier introduced a disease the Aztec population had zero immunity to. Within 2 years, somewhere between 5 and 8 million people were dead. Cities that took centuries to build emptied in months. The military that had dominated the region for a century simply ceased to exist. Let me place you there. You are an Aztec warrior. You have never lost a battle. Your empire stretches in every direction as far as you can see. Then your neighbor gets sick. Then your family gets sick. Then you get sick. You have never been this sick. Nobody around you has ever been this sick. The emperor gets sick and dies. The next emperor gets sick and dies. The city that has stood for 2 centuries is silent within a year. The 500 soldiers are almost an afterthought. Number 3. The Western Roman Empire, 476 AD. Rome did not fall in a day. Rome did not fall in a decade. Rome spent approximately 200 years slowly collapsing, while everyone around it pretended it wasn't happening. At its peak, the Roman Empire controlled everything from Britain to Mesopotamia. The most sophisticated administrative, military and engineering system the ancient world had ever produced. Then several things happened simultaneously over 2 centuries. In the 3rd century alone, Rome had 26 emperors in 50 years, most of whom were assassinated. The currency was debased until it was worthless. The borders were too long to defend with a shrinking army, and a steady stream of people moving into Roman territory who had no loyalty to Rome whatsoever. By 476 AD, when the last Western Roman emperor was deposed, nobody really noticed. The empire had already been functionally over for decades. The last emperor was a teenager. The man who deposed him didn't even bother declaring himself emperor. He just sent the imperial regalia to Constantinople and went home. Let me place you there. You are a Roman citizen in 470 AD. Everything around you looks Roman. The roads are Roman, the buildings are Roman, the laws are Roman, but the soldiers guarding your city are Germanic. The governor speaks Latin with an accent. The taxes haven't been collected in 3 years. Then someone tells you the empire is over. You look around, nothing looks different. That is the most terrifying part. Number 2. The Ming dynasty, 1644. The Ming dynasty ruled China for 276 years, one of the longest lasting empires in human history, largest economy in the world, most advanced navy, population of over 200 million people. It was destroyed by a volcano, a plague, a drought, a locust swarm, and a peasant rebellion, simultaneously. In 1641, a massive drought hit northern China. The same year, a locust swarm devastated crops. The same year, a plague outbreak began spreading. In the background, the Little Ice Age, caused by a volcanic eruption in 1600, had been slowly destroying harvest for 40 years. The peasants, who were starving, had enough. A rebel leader marched on Beijing with an army of desperate farmers. The Ming emperor, abandoned by his generals and his court, walked alone to a tree in the imperial garden. He was never seen again. 3 weeks later, the Manchu armies from the north walked through the gates of Beijing essentially unopposed. Let me place you there. You are a Ming dynasty official in 1641. Last year was bad. The harvests failed. The year before that was also bad. You have been filing reports about drought and locusts and plague for 3 years. The reports are acknowledged and filed. Then the peasants arrive at the city gates. Then you look for the army. Then you look for the emperor. The emperor is in the garden. He is not available. Number 1. The British Empire, 1945 to 1997. The British Empire at its peak controlled 25% of the Earth's land surface and 25% of the world's population. The largest empire in human history. The sun literally did not set on it. Then World War II happened. Britain won the war. Winning the war bankrupted Britain so completely that it could no longer afford to administer a global empire. The United States made it quietly, but clearly understood that the era of European empires was over. What followed was the largest voluntary transfer of territory in human history: India, 1947, Pakistan, 1947, Burma, 1948, dozens of African nations through the 1950s and 1960s, one by one, mostly because there was simply no money left to hold them. The last handover was Hong Kong in 1997. The British governor sailed away on a royal yacht with a folded flag and what eyewitnesses described as tears in his eyes. An empire that took 400 years to build was handed back in about 50. Let me place you there. You are a British colonial administrator in 1947. 2 years ago, you were part of the largest empire in human history. You have just been told your territory is becoming independent. You have been given a flag to fold and a ship to board. The people you were administering have been waiting for this moment for generations. They are not sad to see you go. You fold the flag. You board the ship. Somewhere back in London, someone is calculating whether the empire actually made any money. It did not. And yes, just like every entry on this list, it always ends the same way. The most powerful entities in human history, dismantled by a combination of incompetence, overconfidence, disease, each other, and occasionally a single sick soldier nobody noticed. We genuinely hate every single empire on this list, and we never want to be in charge of any of them.